Hello and welcome back. So as you were probably guessing, I want to make a Sailor Moon doll. But there's a small problem. I started this doll and then I realized I don't actually have the right materials. Specifically, I am missing what is needed for Usagi's hair. But I'm still in an anime mood, so I'll be using the materials I have on hand to make a goth anime doll instead. For the base, I got this doll from AliExpress. I kind of bought her on a whim because I thought her face was cute. And when I had her in my hands, I thought she'd make the perfect base for an anime character. I actually like the hair she came with, but it's rooted kind of thin. Her body has nice articulation, but it's a disappointment. So let's rebody her. I'll be using the body from this Raven Queen doll since their skin tones are a close match. The hair was kind of falling out already, so instead of cutting it, I figured plucking the fiber would make it easier to reuse the hair for another project. That way, I get maximum length if I want to reroot with it. I tie it up to keep it as neat as possible and put it away. When I was pulling the hair out, the part actually ripped open. So I'll have to fix that before continuing. With the needle and thread, I start sewing the split closed. It takes a lot of force to push through the vinyl, and a pair of pliers can help keep me from hurting my hands on the needle. I make a few stitches back and forth to reinforce the head. I want to reroot her, so to give the head more strength, I give the split a coat of fabric glue off camera. The head was floppy, so I cut the neck peg down. Then I tightened it by wrapping a rubber band around the joint. I already removed the original face paint, and you can see how badly it had stained the vinyl. She has some issues already, but I think I can make it work. I could try to remove the staining with acne cream, but I'm feeling impatient today. So instead, I'll do a few coats of watered down acrylic paint and try to cover it up. I use my hairdryer in between layers to help the process along. I mix together paint and Mod Podge and cover the scalp in the solution. The glue in the mixture will keep the paint flexible and deter chipping while rerooting. This also takes a few coats, but usually only takes 2. I just accidentally added too much Mod Podge to the paint and thinned it out. At this point, I decided I wanted to make an anime goth girl. I dug through my stock hair and chose these 2 colors in nylon from the Doll Planet, Psylocke and Truly Outrageous. The pink is really out there. It's so bright my camera can't accurately capture the color. For once, I don't want to do ankle-length hair. I lay the hair over the doll to measure the length that I'll need. And then I cut it. I'm going to skip the rerooting process this time. Since the doll was thinly rooted, I had to add rows of my own. I just used my rerooting needle and pushed through the vinyl as if there are already holes. This is one of those things that shows me that I'm still learning doll customizing. The paint had cracked terribly when I gave her her new hair. The vinyl on this head is really soft and flexes super easily. The paint just couldn't take all the bending of the vinyl under the pressure of my reroute tool. My first attempt at fixing this is to thin and blend the cracked paint. I use a cotton swab dipped in acetone and dissolve the cracks. And she looks terrible, but the idea is that I'll be painting over those patches. The hair was driving me nuts with how springy it was. So I gave it a quick boil wash, and it's even softer after drying. But I noticed something. I'm not sure if it was the boiling water, but her face was suddenly riddled with even more tiny cracks. And I'm not even going to try to fix that. Off camera, I wiped the whole face with acetone, leaving the staining visible. I wrap the head and give it a quick spray with MSC, letting it dry for an hour. I'm just going to try to make the face work over the stains. I feel like I would be really stuck if I had continued to try and make this doll into Sailor Moon. At least with the original character, I can get as crazy as I want with the makeup and try to cover up the stains. The stains were also very distracting during the sketching phase. I did my best not to look at the original eye shape, but it was still there in bright orange. I figured I might be able to cover it up with some gray pencil. It actually worked pretty well. Now I'm able to focus on drawing without distraction. I knew I wanted her to have large, stylized eyes. I'm trying to make her look gloomy and droopy, but also cute. I looked up different makeup styles for goth girls and some punk looks. A lot of them had exaggerated eyelids. I think the idea is to make the eyes look puffy or red. Sort of like they've been crying a lot, but make it glamorous. I'm also trying to give her a bit of a smoky eye. I rub on some black soft pastel to give her black lipstick. Her upper lip is really thin, which is nice for the anime look, but it made getting the shape right with the pastels difficult. She's looking kinda dead here, so I give her some bright pink blush to liven her up a bit. Still dead looking, but we'll fix it giving her eyes a little bit more detail later. Although honestly, I like the simple no pupil look. I kind of regret adding more to the eyes than this, but they felt really unfinished without more detail. I think I might get this doll again just to do another character with the same face mold. Maybe next time I won't get one with a broken hand. I love her nose. It's surprisingly strong for such a feminine face. And she makes me think a little bit of Jinx from Arcane at certain angles. She also reminds me of one of my nieces. The nose and the dark circles combined look a lot like her. I think this is the second layer, and I'm just adding more details with a black pencil. She's alive now. I miss the zombie eyes now, but anime has a lot of sparkles. I had to add them. I tried to add the little lid highlights that Jackie O does all the time. I think it's really pretty, and that this was the perfect opportunity to try it out. I couldn't decide if I wanted to give her purple or pink eyes, so I did a little gradient between the two. The eyes lost some of the redness when I did the eyeshadow, so it's time to bring that back. She needs to be sparkly everywhere, so I brush on some Pearl X powder. I used white for her skin, purple around her eyes, and black on her lips and at the corners of her eyes. And her face is done. This is actually the first doll where I haven't used any gloss. I wanted to keep the details in her eyes crisp and her lips to stay matte. She's looking pretty good, but maybe a little plain. I wanted to give her little tattoos in places that you'll see. Off with her head again, to keep the hair out of the way. I got a few temporary tattoos as gifts in AliExpress orders and from wigs from Amazon. There's also the set that came with a Wild Hearts Crew fashion pack. I want to try and apply the little rose to her face. I think I actually bought this set on its own. It's a nail art set, if I remember correctly. Before I start applying the tattoos, I sand the body. I'm using a really fine grit here, just enough to take the shiny layer of the plastic away, but not to leave scratches. The body had some weird staining on one of the legs, and I'll be able to remove part of the discoloration by sanding that as well. So let's get started with the tattoos. I cut away the designs that I think fit her style the most. Peel away the protective plastic layer and wet the paper with the design. I use a little spritz bottle, but you can also use a sponge. Lay the wet design on the doll and hold for several seconds. This one came out very easily. The rose for her face did not cooperate as much. It actually slid off the paper on another piece of plastic. I just stuck it to her face anyway, but I think these are not really temporary tattoos. The little leaf design did the same thing. These are the nail art designs that I bought, and I think they're actually meant to be encased in nail gel. It's kind of difficult to work with, but you do get more chances to put the design where you want it. It just doesn't stick on its own. The blue rose worked really nicely. It just attached itself as soon as I touched it to the plastic. It wrinkled a little bit, so I smoothed it out with my fingers. Thankfully, the rest of the designs worked really well. To lock the tattoos in place, I give everything a coating with Liquitex matte varnish. The bottle says not to dilute it, so I do not add any water. Then I dab it over the designs with a small makeup sponge. After the first layer is dry, I give it another coat of varnish for extra protection. Temporary tattoos are a nice way to add little detailed designs on a small scale, especially if you're heavy-handed with a brush like I am. I gathered up several accessories from my stock box that I thought would fit her style. This little pink bag just needs a coat of black. Actually, I think everything needs a coat of black. This little studded belt is perfect. I think it came from a My Little Pony doll. Probably Sunset Shimmer, if I remember correctly. I think the rest of the accessories are from Monster High dolls. Now they just need some metallic silver paint to bring out the details. Tell me there is some popular fashion brand that uses a white star on black? Because this looks so familiar, but I cannot place it for the life of me, and Google did not help. Add a little bit of silver to bring out the zipper detail. I tried a few methods for painting this belt. First, I tried painting it all in silver, and then going back in with black over the leather part to make the studs stand out. But that was too messy, and I needed to repaint the studs in silver. It was a lot of work, but I love the final result. I cover everything in a layer of Mod Podge to keep the paint from chipping. I also had a little skull lock from the locker playset that I glued shut over the bag. And I attached another to the collar with a metal loop. I painted some boots that I had in my stock box to match her color theme. I think these are Alyssa Bat's boots. I pulled a few other pieces together to complete her look. The jacket is from a Snapstar Yuki doll. I love the top stitching. Off camera, I painted her nails black. I wanted to try modifying some factory clothes this time instead of sewing a completely new outfit. This kitty Cheshire dress is almost perfect. I just want to make it sleeveless. I fold the top down so I can see how far I need to cut it. Then I mark it with a pencil and cut along the line. I'll give the cutoff piece to my daughter. It should fit her LOL base nicely. Sew or use fabric glue to hem along the edge. I don't want to see any stitching, so I'll be using Fabri-Tac glue. Let's put it all together. These leggings are also from a Snapstar Yuki. I washed them thoroughly, so hopefully they do not stain this doll. I think they'll make really good fake gloves. I keep wanting to put the hands back on too soon. Order of operations. I just shoved the peg through one of the mesh holes. Slide her necklace on. That skull is really finicky. And we're almost done. I thought these loop earrings would fit nicely. And she's done. I gave her hair 2 tiny pigtails and tied ribbons around them. She makes me think of a more colorful Misa Amane. I've decided to name her Shy after my niece. This project had a lot of little bumps, but she was a lot of fun to make, and I'm really happy with the final look. I hope you enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed making her. See you in the next video.